stuff, and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna just make it real casual. Ask, yeah, gotta make it work. Hope you guys don't mind that I'm finishing breakfast. So we.
Hey, and you got a Nirvana CBD T-shirt on too. I see.
You see me? I know how to do it.
Yeah. What is breakfast for you, man? Like, how many calories a day do you have to eat to maintain the shape that you're in?
Well, right now it's not high.
Okay.
Right, barely over like 2,000. We're not at 2,500 calories a day. So we're under 500 calories a day because it is time to just lose weight, shred down, and eventually get the body fat as low as we can.
I mean, it trips me out, man. Like, this is your career. Like, your career literally comes down to monitoring the food, the food that you eat every day, your supplement intake, how many hours you're in the gym. Like, this is literally, your career is based on all these little daily practices of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sure is. I had no idea, and I didn't really foresee a career like this for me when I was growing up, involved in sports.
Yeah.
But here I am.
Yeah.
And actually, now that I'm in this position and that I'm, in it, end of it, I see that it's not too far-fetched because I've been a workout. I've loved weight since I was 12, 13 years old. I loved being in the gym since that old. And so the progression doesn't shock me that I'm here now, and then that now my lifestyle and that like you said, means of making a living is just that, being in gym and going through the ins and outs of gym and what you're doing outside of the gym and calorie intake and everything that pertains to what it's going to do to and for the.
Yeah. So it feels natural to you, huh? It doesn't feel forced or like, oh man, I got to take this, supplement now. I got to eat this much protein now. It doesn't feel forced. It feels pretty natural.
Well, I will tell you this though. No, but I'll answer that initially saying no, it doesn't feel forced. But what I will say is that the technicality of it all, though, now, eat this much, eat that much. This when you don't eat this when you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
All of that. That's still going to get the best of them. That's still going to be tough. Still going to be a little frustrating sometimes when you're hungry and you can't eat, or vice versa. And when you're not hungry and you have to eat.
Yeah.
Because I always say that we all can, from my type of background, we all can be in the gym 24 hours, all night, right? All day, all night.
Yeah.
But the tough part is what we're doing outside, and the other, whatever it is, 16 to 18 hours of the day. That's the tough part, just the discipline of making sure now I'm getting enough rest, making sure that I'm eating a sufficient amount of food, making sure that it's timed properly, making sure that I get supplementation in, making sure that I get recovery in. That's the bulk of the day, even more so than the training. So
I'm telling you, man, it seems like it literally would need to occupy to be at the level that you're at. It seems to me that it would literally need to occupy almost every moment of life. What's just always thinking about what's like if you were to guess, right? We can't really time travel back to, let's say, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was in his youth, right? And he was like a bodybuilder guy. My assumption is he had it a lot easier than you guys do.
Steroids. Just I have a cough. Sorry.
Cool. I'm curious, Breon, it's funny. I have a 14-year-old son, and he and I, he's working out a lot now, and I was telling him about like when I was in middle school, same thing, like 12 years old. I always had my little routine of like lifting weights, the classic kind of preteen kid, teenager in front of the mirror in my bedroom, I got my 10-pound dumbbells. I'm doing, biceps and military, whatever. And so he and I are talking about it, and it's always been part of my world too, going to the gym, working out. But I'm curious, what was the tipping point for you? What was the moment where it went from being, hey, this is just kind of part of your life, to actually becoming a profession, to actually becoming, whoa, this actually now is my life,
Yeah. Well, that started even as a young age too. I wanted to play professional football so very bad. Be a professional football player bad. And I was willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And I understood at a young age that, pretty much that age, 12, 13, 14, I understood that, it's not going to just take what I'm doing on the field for me to get there. It's going to take what I'm doing in the weight room. It's going to take, now maybe I did not value sleep and recovery and all that, back then, but I valued what I was doing in the weight room and my performance in the weight room. I valued it a lot at a young age. And so then that kind of just carried throughout. And then, of course, when you see results, when you see that your performance on the field is elevated and it's doing great, and you are performing and playing at a high level, then that just motivates you and edifies the weight room work, and all the excess work even more so. And so that was kind of the tipping point. It carried me throughout. I also, even before football, my dad would make me run hills with a backpack on my back. So, yeah, this is it. And this is when I was running track, and this is when I was doing track and field. Oh. And I would cry. My mom would just sit there in a lawn chair too, and look at my dad, bark at me, and then I would cry to her, and she'd be like, "It's good for you. Just keep going. Just keep doing it," And that was like 8, 9, 10 years old, even earlier,
What, you were 8 and 9 years old, and your dad was having you run up a hill with a backpack?
Sprint up hills with my back. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of maybe I'm a little different, as far as like when it hit, because it hit me at an early age on like, on the work ethic that it takes to kind of just be head and shoulders, and what it's going to take to be great and to stand out and to be a winner or a champ. But that's what I grew up with, and that's what I learned,
Where was this? Where did you grow up? I'm curious.
I grew up in Rolling Heights, California. It's
right.
it's just right outside of LA, in a little suburb right outside of LA here, off of the 60 freeway. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with that area at all.
I used to live in Topanga Canyon and Venice Beach and Marina Del Rey, places like that.
You were on the other side.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Breon, sorry to interrupt, guys. Breon, actually, since we're just eating breakfast, I have to ask you this question, right? Because it's so relevant, especially for the Indian audience. Do you believe eating meats or having, for example, a vegan diet, what factor does all that play into the nutrition of an individual when they are pursuing like peak fitness?
You said, what factor does being a vegan play in muscle growth?
Or eating meat, vegetarian or non-vegetarian, basically. Yeah. It's an age-old debate. I know. I'm sorry. We could probably have a 3-hour-long conversation on this. I'm just curious about your view, man. Yeah.
That up on me. So, vegan diet, what factor does it play in muscle growth or performance? Was it?
Yeah, like if there's a lot of in India, there's a lot of vegetarian. People who eat vegetarian diets. But at the same time in India, there's this huge wave of fitness, bodybuilding. More and more people over there getting ripped, 6-pack abs, and and protein powders, keto diets, you know. So yeah, it's interesting if there's a big culture of vegetarianism. Yeah, how does that play into, being being a bodybuilder and putting on, muscle mass?
Well, I personally think you can only go so as far as putting on muscle mass
Mm.
on that diet, so far. Now, it depends on the level
Uh-huh.
that you can definitely put a good amount of muscle and look great, feel great on that diet, and have the sufficient amount of um, calories that you need.
Yeah.
Uh, you choose that specific diet. But then when we're talking about on my level and competing at the Olympia level,
Yeah.
having a certain look to the muscle, a certain amount of 3D and roundness to the muscle, and a certain amount of density to the muscle.
Yeah.
I don't think a vegan or vegetarian diet is sufficient enough because you're not getting enough anabolic animal proteins in there
Yeah.
per se.
Yeah.
Um, but nevertheless, I know it's great for gut health, and it's great for some energy levels, and it's great for just feeling cleansed and having a certain having a certain aura, about the body and a certain feel to the body. I know people choose it for that, and that's wonderful. But then we're talking about a certain look as far as anabolic muscle and as far as muscle mass. Then I think you can only go so far.
Interesting, man. Interesting.